the heart of Central Texas. It's the Best of the Outdoors podcast, brought to you by Texas Fish and Game Magazine, the voice of the Texas outdoor nation. I'm your humble host, Dustin Von Warnke, author, outdoor writer, videographer, speaker, blogger, podcaster. Man, am I excited that you have tuned into our show, whether you are downloading it, streaming it on YouTube, streaming it on your mobile device, or wherever you're listening. Thank you so much for doing so and checking out our show today. Well, we're back this week with another show. Excited to have another guest on the show this week, and this is Rex Holmes Jr. He is the owner of Vapor Trail Scents, and Rex has a whole lot of information to offer to us about deer hunting and hog hunting and things that we do here in Texas and outside of the state. That is just amazing, the technology that he's come up with in his products. And I just placed my first order with Vapor Trail Scents. They ran with us in the October issue of Texas Fish and Game, and I got really intrigued by their products. Ordered some, just got them the other day, and have really enjoyed checking them out and using their scent control products as well as their flashlight. They've got a really awesome flashlight, display flashlight, $55 is free shipping, and it's the brightest headlamp I've ever owned. I mean, the thing is just crazy. Charges, has a little charger and everything. It's got a 20-hour battery life on low and a 10-hour battery life on high, and a little LED display screen. It's pretty cool. So definitely want to recommend you check these guys out. So back into hunting season this year, and I recorded the show in late September, the last show in late September with Lou Murillo, and we're going to be talking about hunting again. And I'm really excited to have this guest on because I've learned a lot from him over the years on hunting and scent control and how deer and hogs, smell scent, how they detect it, how they interpret it, and so on and so forth. So that's what this show is going to be dedicated to, is just kind of the biology of a deer and just those kind of things. So we'll get into fishing later, into the next few podcasts that we get into here in the fall. But since we're just entering bow season here and about halfway through the first month of October, I wanted to definitely get some information out there for you bow hunters out there especially, but then for you gun hunters as well, as we enter November. And have a new show for you about that kind of stuff. So really excited to have you guys part of the show. Please subscribe to the podcast if you've not done so already. It is free. We get a new show every 2 weeks when we pump this out, and we blast that out in Facebook and Facebook groups and social media. And we have a podcast page of the Best of the Outdoors of all the podcasts we've done with Texas Fish and Game, and we've been going on doing these regular shows for quite a while now. You can visit that at fishgame.com/podcast. You can listen to all of our shows there on your mobile device or on your computer. And then we also have, we're on iTunes. We're syndicated all over the place. And I wanted to also recommend that you subscribe to the show so that way you get the new shows without having to think about it, automatically downloaded on your mobile device. So also wanted to mention an awesome podcast that I've been listening to lately. It is a group of Texas guys that are public land hunters. It is called the Cast Blast Grill Chill podcast. And two guys that are cousins that talk about a lot of hunting and fishing stuff, and really enjoyed checking up with them. This podcast just got started, and I'm trying to give them some support to get it off the ground, and really enjoy them. They're avid listeners to our podcast, and I wanted to definitely give them some love. Jeremy and Trevor. On iTunes, you can pick that up, or they've got a bunch of stuff out in social media. They've got a Facebook page, so definitely check that out. Subscribe to our show, and if you've not done so already, sign up for our newsletters with Texas Fish and Game. The Best of the Outdoors is broadcast on the Thursday newsletter, where you can click directly on the link and listen to it. But we have Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday newsletters 3 times a week. They come out every week, and really good engaging content in all those. So wanted to definitely recommend you try that out as well and get it on our news feed and email blasts and things like that we do at the magazine. So this past weekend, I went out to Lone Star Shooting Range and Academy, which is based out of Central Texas in the Florence, Texas area, Georgetown, north of Georgetown. and went and took out my beloved Mosin Nagant rifle, 7.62 by 54 rimmed. If you've never heard of that caliber, it's similar to a 308 or a 30-06, but it's Russian, and it's one of the oldest rim cartridges still in existence and still in use today by military forces all over the world. And it's a heck of a deer hunting round. I've got a 203 grain bullet that I use, silver bear and brown bear ammo, and I was just dialing in my sporterized Mosin Nagant that I bought and had Cerakoted a couple of years ago, and the Cerakote job came out great. I just haven't hunted with it since I got it Cerakoted, and really excited about that gun in this deer season because I have some MLD hunting I'm going to do in high fences. I've got some low fence hunting I'm going to do in Brady and Mason, and some bow hunting I'm going to do in Bertram at DB Hunting Ranch, and really have the opportunity to do a lot of hunting, and I'm very blessed about that. If you don't have a place to hunt, there's obviously plenty of public land spots you can go to. Private land, it comes at a premium in a lot of regards. If you don't own it, you can certainly find lease hunts or not necessarily leases this time of year, but day hunts this time of year online. Any of the Facebook groups, I'm part of a lot of them that are, Texas hunting groups, and Texas Affordable Hunts. There's all kinds of different groups on Facebook that you can become a part of and kind of see. That's where I post a lot of the specials that I do for the businesses I work for on Facebook. So definitely check that out. Really excited about this show. Rex is an incredible guest. I've really enjoyed having him on. Here's our interview. Joining me on the phone is Mr. Rex Holmes Jr. from Vapor Trail Scents. Welcome to the Best of the Outdoors podcast, Rex.
Hey, man, it's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great to have you. You and I initially talked because I'm in ad sales for the company, of course, and we initially talked about an October ad, which is running this month in the Texas Fish and Game, and I just got to talking to you, and you educated me so much in like 5 minutes of our conversation about, deer hunting and deer biology and stuff. I was like, I've got to have this guy on the podcast. So, but thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, man, hey, it's awesome, and we love talking deer hunting and fishing, anything like that. I mean, that's our life. And we have, I'm getting up there in age, so I've done a lot of watching in the woods, spent a lot of time, and there's no place I'd rather be than up in a tree stand.
Yep. And the last guest that we had on the show, you listened to yesterday. You were telling me you're listening to Lou Murillo. He's our bow hunting editor at Texas Fish and Game, and he's really big about tree stand safety. So I wanted to bring that up on a show related to hunting season since we're in October now, because it's so vitally important to wear a good harness and just take care of yourself when you're out in the woods so you don't have a very expensive mistake. And you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, definitely. I've got some real close friends, that actually, one of my friends broke his leg in so many places. I mean, it's really, really bad. And it's so easy to do.
Yes.
I mean, he was in a ladder stand. He wasn't even in a climb or a lock on the ladder stand, just rolled around the tree and slung him out. I mean, you've got to really watch your cables, and especially guys that are putting nylon ratchet straps to hold their stand. The squirrel will get around on the backside and he'll gnaw that thing down. You won't know it.
That's true. I've heard of many
gone.
stories about that. Yeah, then you're down the tree pretty quick. So yeah.
Yeah, and guys too, we need to be really careful about putting those ratchet straps on and leaving them. I mean, if you got some of you have used chains before, and if you put a chain on a tree, that tree is growing within 3 months. You'll have to cut that chain off. You won't be able to get that.
It'll grow around it, right? So, yeah, it'll grow around the tree,
Yes, even with your ratchet straps, about every 3 months you need to go in there, loosen them up, and retighten them so that they're not at that breaking point. Guys, I know guys that put them up and leave them up for 2-3 years. Man, that is dangerous.
Yeah, to go back to a stand you haven't hunted for that long and climb up there and expect everything to be just peachy as you left it. I mean, that's especially true on public land and hunting, spots like that. That's definitely the case with that, because you don't know what's happened in the case of you not being there.
Yeah, and the sun deteriorates the
I was
fabric.
say that too.
I mean, it just it's just there's so much that you got to watch out for. I mean, when you're in the woods, us here in the South, I mean, we got snakes. We got, a cousin of mine jumped slap out of the tree. He was up in the tree, and there was a hole in the limb above him, and all of a sudden he was a chicken snake, but he looked up and there the head of that thing was in his face. he bailed he bailed out of that tree and come to the house and my dad and my uncle was picking at him, It made him so mad he went down there and he got on the ground. When that snake stuck his head out, he shot it. When he brought it to the house, it was about 6 foot long, He said,
oh my gosh.
My dad said, no wonder he got scared.
Mm-hmm. That's a monster snake, 6 feet. That's pretty good. So out of a tree too, I mean, that's something you just don't think about finding in a tree, if it's hollowed out or anything in the middle, I mean, they can live in there for sure.
Yeah. You don't never know what's going to happen in the woods. You got to watch what you're doing, boating, four-wheelers. It is so easy to get turned upside down.
Yep. It is. So be safe, be conscious, be aware. Those are all important things to talk about when you're hunting, especially around the safety topic. You can never be too safe. I mean, I've always said that on this show.
Yes. Use your safety lines. I mean, a safety line's only $30.
Right.
It's worth every penny, guys.
Yeah, and get one that fits you well and one that you'll wear every time, and don't just leave it to chance that, I'm going to be fine, because there's plenty of guys that are in wheelchairs or worse, that thought that, and that wasn't the case. So that's definitely a good consideration.
Yes.
So you are the owner of Vapor Trail Scents, and you own flashlight, accessories, all kinds of different stuff. I just placed a decent sized order with you the other day because reading all your Facebook testimonials and getting to know you over the phone. I mean, you just got an incredible product line, and I've just got to get a hold of some of this stuff. So that's why Friday night I was on my phone. I'm ordering some stuff. I'm doing it. So
we have been very blessed. I mean, the 33-point buck, our cover scent and attractant, we call it a God thing because, I mean, it even amazes us. I had a guy this morning send me a video. Deer walked straight to him, up under him, looking at him move up above, smelling the 33. What he did, he walked into his ladder stand and he sprayed down right by it, which sprayed the ladder and whatnot. And the deer was actually smelling it on the ladder, I mean, and that happens all the time, but it's unbelievable. I mean, we sat on the ground. It's 90 degrees, 95. Well, one day we went in there, the truck said it was 100 degrees. I mean, I was sweating so bad. I was in a lock on. I was leaning out so the sweat would drop off of my face and not run down on me, and me continuously rubbing and wiping my eyes. But now I'm spraying. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm spraying quite a bit, and I just to myself, I had a lady on the ground with a pistol. I said, there is no way we gonna get away with this. And 6 big hogs come in there. One of them stopped dead under my stand right where, I mean, I was literally sweating on top of it. And she wound up shooting the boar at like 7 feet on the ground on camera. I mean, I was up in the tree filming it, and I mean, I would have bet my life there is no way this is going to happen. I mean, the stuff is unbelievable. We call it, being a part of the woods. It makes you a part of the woods to where we have coons come sit on our legs. I picked a chipmunk up one day in my hand. He just looked at me like, what are you? You're not human to them, anymore. You're part of the environment, part of the woods. And I mean, everything that it's made out of, we gather in the woods right there and we make it, with our own 2 hands. We bottle it with our own 2 hands and we label it with our own. There's no machinery and any of our stuff. We make the laundry detergent 32. We mix it 32 ounces at a time in the bottle that it comes in. It never sees a machine.
And the thing I was going to also say is, your product's safe to the human touch. I mean, there's a lot of products out there that are, more popular, if you want to call them, or have, national companies and stuff like that have these products. They're not safe to spray on your skin, and you've got to read the labels for that. We were talking about that in the pre-chat before we started recording.
Yes, it is there is some bad stuff out there, guys. I mean, be sure and read the labels. I mean, some of that stuff is even flammable.
Yes,
You know,
flammable, right.
you do not want to be, you know, I don't understand. I mean, this is America. We don't do that to people. We don't sell stuff that's harmful to them, you know, without letting them, know up front. And I remember the first time, that I ever tested the scent eliminating products. You know, we did a, a real extensive. We got every scent eliminator known to man. We went to Bass Pro Shops. We bought everything there was. You know, I thought, that this stuff did what they said it did. You know, and I mean,
Yes.
I was like everybody else. I was buying it too. Didn't know no better. I trusted them, and
Sure.
that's what we do. We trust because they're they're our fellow countrymen.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't so. It
Right.
wasn't what they said. And what happened was I was in a we were in a strip pit in Illinois, running down this strip pit in the boat, and then we get out and walk up to our stands, and I plugged the motor up, and the gas tank had built up pressure and sprayed gasoline all up my arm.
Mm.
And and I sprayed that stuff, they didn't do nothing. you know so that's when we started testing. Come to find out, they hardly any of it did anything, to be
Right.
honest. It was more chemicals. And that's the other thing. I mean, we don't, you take a 4 or 5 year, and if you don't believe me, take your whatever scent eliminator you're using now, go out there and spray your feeder, and then watch your pictures and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Sure.
it's not rocket science. It's easy to see where you're at, you know. Um,
Right. Scent
but
elimination is
we,
so important. I mean, it is vitally important because that is the one thing deer and hogs especially will use to detect humans in that area is their nose before their eyes, especially in the case of wild hogs. Is that right?
oh, yes, yes, most definitely. You take like us, okay, we smell, say we smell a rose.
Uh-huh.
We barely smell that rose, but it smells good to us. And us, the way we smell a rose, when that deer smells that rose, to us, it would be like he stuck his nose in gasoline. That's how,
Very intense, in other words. Yeah.
that's how powerful that rose would be to a deer. And when you spray down, you got to spray down from head to toe. If you skip one spot, that's why we came up with the vapor maker, to spray down with, because if you're pulling a trigger or pushing a button, to
Right.
spray down, you're going to skip areas. If you skip 1 inch, you're going to get busted. So scent eliminators that tell you don't get this on your skin, don't get it in your eyes, don't get it here. I mean, it's not going to do you any good. You're
Right.
going to get busted. And that's why guys go out there with their doe and heat and whatnot. I mean, the scent is going to go downwind. So when a buck's coming to you, he's walking straight into the wind. And if you got chemicals on you and stuff like that, those big bucks, I mean, it's not going to work.
You'll never see
But
him.
you'll never see him. He'll turn and go a different direction before. If you do see him, he's already turning, heading away from you. I mean, I
Right.
see it on these TV shows all the time, and it'll be on shows that are sponsored by some of these big companies that, oh, this stuff's supposed to do this and do that, and you sit there and watch them get busted every show just about their own. you know
Yeah. No, that's a
um,
good consideration to
it
make.
Yes, it is an art. It's all scientific, and it's not magic. You got to do your part, but if you do your part, you can literally, I mean, I walk right by animals in the woods. I mean, I have literally, and this is the truth, guys. I have literally, had to go to the bathroom really, really bad, and
Mm-hmm.
climb down out of the tree with deer watching me. Now this is deer that is downwind.
Yes.
Now deer that are upwind, when they see me, they gonna go ahead and move and get out of there. This is deer that are downwind, and they can't smell me as a human. They are trying to figure out what I am, because they know if I'm a human, they could smell me, and they can't smell me. It
Mm-hmm.
throws them off. I mean, I literally and got witnesses to it. Uh, this particular time, I was a camera guy, and I got down and went all the way over, and came back, climbed up the tree, and it was a doe and two yearlings, and she had actually eased off a little bit. When I got back, she still looked around there because I was in a climbing stand, and she heard me going up the tree and watched me, and they fed right back, went right back under the tree, and went right back up the way that they came in there. That's what I say. It even amazes us.
Sure.
That day, if we didn't have it on film, you know, I don't even know if I'd be telling you about it.
It'd be hard to, I guess you would say
It's,
it would be hard to believe, but I mean, the bottom line is that they trust their nose more than anything, just about, which I've heard before, but I've never heard it put the
yes,
same way that you put it, Rex. The way that you put, you've had your products, that you show on Facebook. You're within 2 feet of a wild hog. He doesn't even detect you're there, and you're laying on the ground, or not you, but one of your teammates is laying on the ground. And I mean, that stuff's just because a hog's nose is really hard to fool, just like a coyote's nose. And we've talked about
yeah,
that on this show before. But I mean, that's amazing.
yeah. A hog can smell 500 times better than a deer, and 1,500 times better than us. And the piece of peppermint you get at Sonic, they've
Yes.
already proved it. Now, they fed the hogs peppermint, and they got them used to liking it. Okay, they would move the hogs, they would bury that piece of peppermint. They went all the way down to 7 foot before that hog wouldn't pick it up.
That deep, and
7
we
foot.
wonder why they're truffle finders, finding those expensive truffles
Exactly.
in the European states. So yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. And them suckers are smart. They are smart. They know what's going on. They don't miss nothing.
And kind of like a coyote, they can easily be educated too.
Oh
They
yeah.
get shot at, they're going to go nocturnal. I mean, I work with a game ranch,
Mhm.
obviously, that I get to see their behavior a lot under a high fence, and really, the feeding time. I mean, the last video that I did for a hog hunt with an air gun was a DB hunting ranch, and I shot a hog, but it was like right before dark. The feeder went off and the hogs were there. I mean, just that instant, And I was just like, "Holy smokes, man!" I mean, they're really smart. They're really trained well to their
Mhm.
surroundings, and you know that as well as I do.
Oh yeah. They know when that feeder's gonna go off, and that old big old boar. I got that problem right now. He won't be very far from that feeder at any given time. He will not let the rest of the hogs get to it. He's
Yes,
gonna kill them all off of
I've
there. And
seen that too. Yeah,
you got to shoot him, get him off of there before you can get the others in there. But the way we get rid of them. Have I told you how when we want to get rid of the hogs,
what's
we want
that?
to really kill them out of there? How we do it? We take we got that dig a hole that is basically turns feed into sugar,
Right, it's a
and
mineral supplement, right?
yes, mineral, yes, it has mineral in it, and it's the most powerful concentrate that's ever been made. It's a powder, so we put a little volcano shape or pyramid shape of corn on the ground, and we sprinkle that, dig a hole on there, which turns that into pure sugar, and
Mm,
animals can smell that they can smell it for miles away.
wow.
Then when the whole bunch of them comes in there, you make your bottom base about 2 foot around in diameter, and they'll get in a circle around it. And we'll put our stand about 30 yards from that pile of corn, or put the corn about 30 yards from your stand. And when they all get in that circle, you take one of them 3.5 inch Magnum #4 buckshots in one shot, and you kill every one of them. Boom,
Goodness.
it's
So
over with.
for hog control, that's pretty effective. Wow.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
didn't
it
think
is
about that.
fun too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
uh,
So we certainly have a hog
but
problem in the state of Texas, especially outside of the game ranches that hunt them for sport. But I mean, a hand grenade has been suggested as a way to get rid of hogs. And that's pretty much the gun version of that. Is spray and pray with the load of buckshot. But I mean, that's that dig a hole stuff. I ordered some of that. I've there's all kinds of different supplements on the market. There's rocks, there's bags of stuff. I mean, there's all kinds of different stuff. The stories that I've read on that dig a hole product are just amazing.
I get something just about every day in a text message. Guys, with this one guy, this is a story here that really sticks to you. He was born and raised on the family property. It's like 600 acres, and he's like 38 years old. He's been hunting there for about 30 years. Never had over 2 bucks in one picture on a feeder his whole life. And he puts the dig a hole in the feeder, and within 2 days he got 7 bucks.
Oh wow, that's
and
great.
Good bucks, And
he just mixes it in with the feed, right? Is that what he was doing? Was just mixing it in with the feeder? Okay, cool.
Yes. You just sprinkle it like sprinkling salt and pepper on on your steak or whatever.
Sure.
You just sprinkle it on the corn as you pour it in the feeder. Or if I'm by myself, I put about 4 inches of corn in the feeder and I'll sprinkle over the top.
Right.
And then
kind of layer it. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of layer it in there, and then as the feeder goes off, to me, it turns your feeder into a mineral site and an ice cream station. That's basically,
I love it.
Basically what it does. But we made it, and the way we made it, minerals are bitter. So that's why, a mineral site should never, ever be over 100 yards from a permanent water supply because it is so bitter. And, I mean, you imagine putting a tablespoon of sugar salt in your mouth at one time. It's basically the way it tastes to an animal, and that's why they dig a hole as much as they do, so that there's water there with it.
Okay.
Yeah, the hogs especially, they'll do it. They'll do it big time. But we made it. We actually, tasted it. So we got it, and I call it sweet and salty. Because and if you came here and you came in the office, that's probably one that, other than getting sprayed in the face with 33, that'll be the next thing you do is get to lick the dig a hole, but it's so good you would eat it yourself.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done, and the dadgum animals love it. Mm-hmm. It's another one of our God things, I guess. We've been very, very blessed. Our products, all of our lights, everything is just, we're just way ahead of everybody else. They got a lot of catching up to do, and we got a broadhead on the way. If we get it finalized, we're having trouble getting it manufactured because it's unlike anything that's ever been done before. But if we get it finished, it's gonna be the same way. I predict 60% of the animals that are shot with it, that are shot in the boiler room, are gonna hit the ground right there. It's gonna be like shooting them with a 416 Rigby,
Because it's got like a gigantic cut radius, this broadhead.
It's 2 1/8 inches.
That's incredible.
But the blades don't angle back like everybody else's. All broadheads for 50 years been built for penetration. We didn't build this for penetration. We built this to rip the boiler room slap out of an animal, and that's what it'll do. As it goes through a heart or a lungs, it pulls the lungs to the inside instead of pushing it away from it.
Right.
So, it's going to be, everything's going to be coming into the middle. It'll be like a scoop. When you scoop something up with this, you got the sides on it, it runs everything into the middle of the scoop so you get it.
Sure.
To pick it up. If they slid backwards, it would just go out the sides of it. It wouldn't go in the scoop. So, and that's what we're doing. We're scooping the heart and lungs into the middle to get ripped apart. All of your blood vessels. The heart and the lungs are solid blood vessels and air vessels. And when you disseminate those, you create shock. When you create shock, the animal don't know, boom, he just falls dead.
Yes.
I guarantee you, if you was tied to a tree and I said, look, I got this 416 Rigby and I got this broadhead. Which one you want me to shoot you with? You're going to pick that bullet because you might live with that bullet. You ain't living with that broadhead.
No,
You
no,
ain't
that's
going to make it.
incredible. That's
Yeah,
incredible. And that's the thing that I like about your stuff is that it is so forward thinking. It is so revolutionary in a lot of ways because you don't have to your scent eliminators and your scent products are all organic for the most part, and you don't have to worry about getting them on your skin. I mean, that's what they're designed for. They come from nature. I mean, and it's nature's like the vapor maker, puts everything in the particles the way the animal disperses them to begin with. I
yeah,
thought that was a brilliant idea. It's something that's
yeah.
natural that puts out something that's natural. I really think that's a great idea.
When that doe urinates, when she comes in estrus and she urinates, she's 112 degrees on her private parts. Okay. That's just like, and that's how we come up with the vapor maker. Okay. When you go out there and you urinate in the morning time and that steam's coming off of you, that's what's coming off of her everywhere she goes. That's nature's way to make sure she gets bred. She's got 72 hours to conceive. If she don't conceive, she's got to come back and go through it all over again. And
Yes.
believe me, they will do everything in their power, buck and doe, to make sure that she conceives because she does not want to be late.
Right.
And what guys don't understand too, and I mean, this is a proven fact right now. Everywhere in the United States, 365 days out of the year, there's a doe getting bred somewhere.
Hmm.
Somewhere in the United States. I got right now today, and when they want to talk about climate change and this, that, and the other, I got a spotted fawn. I guarantee is not 2 weeks old right
Goodness.
now. With a doe on my feeder right now. It's really and I tell guys, anytime the temperature is under 40 degrees, you can use doe and heat, and if there's a buck gets downwind of you, he is gonna come check it out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you benefit enough from it once it gets over 40 degrees and this is just from experience in the tree and watching it. I mean, we film. I've shot one deer in 4 years. I'm too busy watching and learning.
Yeah.
I get too much out of learning from it to shoot now. Grant you, if a Boone and Crockett walks out there, he's gonna get shot. But
Yep.
I've never killed a Boone and Crockett, but if I get an opportunity, I don't think I'm gonna pass that one up. But
Yeah.
I've killed real close. But and I've hunted public land. We still do. We hunt more public land now than we do private land. We still
Yes.
do. We get a better understanding of our products and how they work and how the deer react to
Yes.
everything.
No, that's great. And I mean, that's one reason why I wanted to have you on because you have so much knowledge when it comes to, and you're so accessible. That's the thing. I know you own this company and everything, but I mean, you're so accessible to talk deer hunting, about, and your phone number's on your website. And I mean, that you and I have hit it off from the beginning because you're so full of knowledge, that I need, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show.
Yeah, we're
So
learning. I mean, we're still learning. You don't never know everything. I
you
mean,
should never stop learning, I think is the point there.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And I don't know. You've heard me say before something I'd like for people to understand too is, the scrape. That's that buck's cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he gets his messages from. I mean, all my life I was told, oh, the deer goes there and rubs its preorbital glands on that limb. That's why it's there. Well, that always bothered me. Number one, I'm sitting there thinking, he would take a chance on poking his eye, and why would that limb always be dead center of that scrape?
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Yep.
there's got to be a reason for that limb. I mean, if they was just rubbing their preorbital glands and their face on there, wouldn't be no reason for that thing to be dead center and for him to make sure that he got dead under that limb and pawed it out perfectly clean up under it, and I sat there and I watched them bucks with binoculars and with that camera, that 20x camera. That's the thing right there. You don't miss, you can't see it in that tree. You go home and you watch it on the big screen TV. It's like night and day difference.
It is.
You watch that buck. I mean, he makes dadgum sure. He puts all 4 feet together. He looks up. He makes sure he's like we'd be throwing a rope over a limb to lift something,
Right,
We'd make
exactly.
sure he's in the right spot. That's what he done. I said, they got to be a reason. Then here comes this doe. She comes in there and she gets dead under that limb. She squats. That steam comes off of her and goes right up and sticks to the bottom of that limb. I said, uh-huh. Then the buck comes in there and he goes over there and he smells that limb and licks that limb and tastes that limbs, and he knows exactly she's close.
Right.
She ain't but maybe 2-3 hours from. I got to go find her.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that works, and that's why he's got multiple scrapes.
Yes.
This doe comes in there. She don't have to go to that. She go over there and get her own little scrape. Leave him his message. He starts getting messages on them scrapes. His testosterone be like me. I start getting 2 or 3 good-looking women shooting me on his cell phone. My testosterone climbs.
Yes.
So instead of them does going in there leaving them messages, you go in there and leave them messages. Always in the daytime, never at night, because you don't want him in there at night.
No.
You want him to think. He knows when she's there. That huzzy's coming in here in the daytime, Dadgum. Same way with your dominant buck. If you want to spray your dominant buck, we got a bad habit of going in there and do it in the morning, so we get in our stand.
Right.
Well, that buck's in there tonight. He said, I'll get him tomorrow night. But if you go in there like 3 days in a row and you do it in the daytime, he said, I got to come in here and run that sucker off. And about that 4th day, you got a good opportunity. That sucker, especially with good cover sense, see, you get away with it because he going to come in from downwind. Ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Yes.
You got to be sprayed down. You got to be covered up. You got to take care of your end of the deal. So when he comes in there, you can put the killer in him.
Yeah. No, that's good. And I mean, that's stuff I've kind of known about, but I mean, you have just explained it in such a better way for me to understand that they can even tell how old a scent is. That's how good the nose is,
Oh, yes.
I mean,
definitely.
and that the doe pees at the bottom of the tree, and that the deer can smell on the limb, the vapors that raise up from the pee,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't think of it from a molecular level like that. I just kind of thought of it from a scent, a general level, because I've used doe and heat for years, but I've never really been very successful with it. You have helped me up my game, sir.
Yeah.
So
the other thing is that we've recognized too that most people haven't keyed on. Okay, soil is very, very acidic. Okay, so when you put urine in the soil, I think it kills the pheromones. We peed and we had 150 something inch deer coming into a scrape every day. Right after dark. He was right after dark every day. So the last day of hunting season, I wasn't hunting him, a friend of mine was, and the last day of hunting season, he got mad and got late. He run down there and he peed all over that scrape. Went back up there, jumped up in the tree. The buck come in there and squatted, stayed there for 45 minutes, squatted right in there where so I took my urine, right? I went out there and I cleaned me out a spot real clean, and I smelled of the urine and I put it in the soil, and I smell of it in the soil. It's totally different. It's like it killed it.
interesting.
I honestly believe that the acidity of the soil and the whatnot changes that urine to where it's not any good. Now, the urine that's on the bushes, same way with a dog. When a dog goes looking, he smells everything up off the ground.
Yes.
And let's say a dog went over a female dog went over to a bush and urinated. Yes, it's all over the ground, but the steam, even if it's 100 degrees out, when they in estrus, the steam's still coming off of there. We can't see it like you can on a cold morning, but it's still doing the same thing and
Right.
sticking to the bushes and whatnot like that. I mean, it's all scientific when you look at it, and not complicated. It's just scientific to where we have to put the little factors together as to how we can use it to make the bucks do what we want them to do.
Right. It's in their DNA. We're just trying to understand that and
Right.
adapt to that and basically be where they are and know when they're going to come in and that kind of stuff. I mean, this is great information to pass on to our hunters out there. I mean, that's why I wanted to have you on because understanding it at that level just really helps you up your game because there's so much. I mean, there's so much about hunting you learn through a lifetime. You know that as well as I do. But
Yeah.
to really understand why it works that way from a biological level, I think is just crucially important to be a better hunter.
hmm The main thing with hunting now that is the biggest thing is not as a really and truly, and I've learned this from moving around on my stands and doing things, and sometimes I'll get in a stand, oh, I'm gonna go over there. It's not that big a deal to move around in the woods. The big deal is to move around in the woods and putting your scent out. Even guys will jump on their four wheeler. Oh, I'm gonna run over there and put some corn in his feeler, and I'm not gonna spray down. Well, as you're going, the wind's blowing your scent across all of your acreage.
Yes.
You know, you're leaving. Now, we all know that they get used to tractors and the smell, and they don't pay that, the smell of the four wheeler. They don't pay that as much of attention as they do that smell of you.
Right.
You know, and a lot of times, and it depends on the areas how much hunting pressure and whatnot. We all know that you can get on your tractor and ride down through there, and they won't pay you any attention. But you go walking across there, and it's a whole 80 bar the door. But sometimes if you do the same thing every day, every day, every day, they get used to it, and they get till you shoot at them or something like that to change the scenario. They'll stand. I mean, we know people that have sat on there, especially up north when the weather gets really, really bad. They sit out there and feed them out of their hands. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they are animals as we are animals, and they can be, you can be nice and they will be nice to you.
Yes.
I mean, it takes a period of time, but it can be done. And that's one of the things that makes it hard for even us. I mean, we did some shows the other day at the TV studio, and I had give the guy some of our videos, and a bunch of the executives from the TV station were in there. They said, "Oh no, that's not real. That's not real." And the guy that had the video, he said, "Look, I edited it." And the guy never cut the camera off. He said, "I'm telling you, this is legit, And they said, "Oh, he's in a pen." He said,
Uh-huh.
no, he said, I know this guy. I've been there. He said some of this stuff's on public land, but it's hard to get people to, but once guys pick it up, they use it and they see it in the woods for themselves, you can't take it
They're
away from
sold.
them.
Yeah, they're sold on
It's
it.
it's a done deal, and you couldn't. I mean, I've had guys literally threaten me. I've got to have this.
Yep. You better not ever quit making this, Rex.
Yeah. Well, we did for 2 years back yonder. We weren't ready for the takeoff, and we ran out twice, 2 years in a row. We ran out just for a few days, and even today, I'll have a guy order 6 and 8 quarts, at
Mm-hmm.
a time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the beginning of the year, they don't want, they make dadgum sure they ain't running out.
Yeah, they're gonna
It,
stock up
it
and
ain't
save.
gonna,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it
Right.
ain't gonna happen. But
Stack it deep. Yeah.
yeah, it's fun. I mean, I have to say, it is really fun. I mean, growing up and when I started this company, the reason I did, I had 23 deer come out on me I had a 6 by 12 window, 6 inches tall, 12 inches wide window in a shooting house. I had 23 deer come out, and every one of them busted me. Some of them was just, they just turned and went back the way they came. Some of them snorted, throwed a fit, and run 90 miles an hour. But 23 deer, every one of them turned around and went back the way that they came, and that's when I said they has got to be. And this was only in 2008, and I had all of the clothing on and
Sure.
took showers in the shampoo and all
Did
of
all
that.
of it right. Yeah.
Yeah, did everything right. Did not walk anywhere. The
Right.
guy, I came out of the lodge and stepped in a Suburban, and the guy drove me to this stand. Never been on a outfitted hunt in my life. Some friends of mine going and begged me to go with them. The guy drove me within 5 foot of the stand. I walked up in there. It was nice and cool that afternoon. I wasn't sweating or
Right.
nothing.
Right.
And 23 deer. I wish I had it on camera. I'd give anything if
They
I had
all
that on.
busted you.
Yeah,
Wow.
every one of them. I never dreamed I'd ever own a camera, even at that time. Much less inventing something.
Right.
I mean, I'm just a dumb old country boy, to
I
be
don't think
honest.
you are. I think you're a smart guy. You've taught me
That's
a
the
lot.
truth.
No,
I'm telling you the truth, there,
yeah,
buddy.
well, and the thing is, I mean, everybody, every hunter, if you've hunted any time at all, knows the feeling when that doe starts blowing at you or when that buck, runs away. I
Hmm.
mean, I hunted a lot of urban property for a long time, Brushy Creek in the Round Rock area of Central Texas, and I've got videos on YouTube of that kind of stuff. Me 20 yards from a deer, making a crossbow shot. Doesn't matter how good I was doing on the scent control. I'd spray myself down. It wasn't enough. They still came in and busted me. And I had been looking for a product that was going to really work, and I think I found it because of you. So, but the thing I didn't really understand is why, I had a little zipper opening. She could see through that opening. She could see the movement in the blind through that opening, even though I was completely covered in black clothes in a dark pop-up blind. I mean, they're so intuitive when it comes to predators and humans. It just amazes me how amazing that species of deer and especially wild hogs for scent, really is.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. When they smell a hint and they see movement, that really multiplies it. If they see movement and they don't smell the scent, they will stand there and try and figure it out. They will watch, and they'll try and fool you. They'll put their head down, then pop it up real quick. I mean, you can
And kind of be
tell.
on alert, I guess is what you're trying to say,
Right.
right? Yeah.
Like they trying to make you jump.
Hmm.
Is what they're trying to do.
Just like they
And
paw at the ground and that kind of stuff too, right? Yeah.
yep, trying to catch you moving yourself,
Hmm.
and set a trap for you basically. And I mean, in all honesty, when you're sprayed down and you're part of the environment, and I mean, I've done it. You'll watch our videos. I do it. I lean up against a tree in the wide open. You
Hmm.
know, I associate it when you're like 2 3 foot from an animal, a deer or a hog. I associate it with riding a bull. When you riding a bull, there can be 150,000 people in the bleachers. You don't hear nothing. You don't see
Yeah.
nothing. You're blank. Well, that's the way it is. When you get 2 foot from an animal in the woods, you have to be blank. You can't be staring at anything. You got to be what the military calls a 1,000 yard stare.
Hmm.
Once you learn how to do that, become one with the woods. I mean, you can literally do things unimaginable with animals and get away with it.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is fooling that nose, which up to this point,
Mhm.
I've tried a lot of different scent detections. One thing that are scent elimination products. One of the things that Bill Henson and Randy McMillan, Mac and Prowler, who I worked with their TV show for a number of years, they've said on this podcast before is you can't fool a coyote's nose. It's hard. But I think with the right complete scent system like you've got, I mean, I think it's definitely doable. But they're smart, you know. They're educated, and every time you make a mistake, you've educated them, you know, on deer, hogs, you know, predators, whatever. So.
Yep. I tell you what we can do. There's a guy that writes for Field and Stream that did a study with dogs, and I tried every way in the world to get in touch with him because I wanted to do the same thing with our stuff. But I have literally laid on the ground, face down, and had a guy with a German Shepherd walk within 3 foot of me, and the German Shepherd never knew I was there, never picked me up.
That's great. And a dog's nose is certainly a lot more powerful. We talked about that on the last show. You know, a lot more powerful than a human nose and a little bit less powerful than a deer's nose. But that's good. I mean, because they use dogs for, you know, a wide variety of different things there. I mean, that's really good.
I'll just be honest, it amazes us too. I'm not going to lie to you. It amazes us. We always were getting away. About, it was 3-4 weeks ago, and this is all on film. My son was laying on the ground. And I'm not kidding you. From my son's nose to that hog's nose was probably 3 inches. But I'm gonna say it was 6, just so I'm not even getting close to telling
Be conservative,
a lie.
yeah, right.
Yeah. But and I mean, and he was, and it was one of those things. And I wish you could see the video. They're working on it, and it might have got published today. He said, Daddy, I was shaking so bad. He said, I don't know. But what happened was, we always, if you watch our videos, we always got an automatic pistol in our hand.
Yep.
Always.
Right, just in
we
case.
never do it without that. And he had left his pistol at home, and I got 2 vehicles. I was in the Trailblazer that day because I went to the office and all. And I didn't have, well, I had a pistol in there, but it was only a 22. And so we didn't get it, and he didn't have a pistol. And when he grabbed that hog, he grabbed that one by the back legs. Of course, it was too big. There was no way he could hold on to it after. He'd been laying on the ground for over 3 hours when they came. So, your muscles get, there was no way. But when the hog run off, I'm telling him to get it. We build a little cuddy hole we get in, to be hid. And I'm telling him to get out of there. And he's not doing it because the hogs are right there. They ain't left. I mean, they still ain't smelled him, and they don't know what he is. They try, of course, 3 of them, they got a clue. That one's the only one that got grabbed. But anyway, he finally gets out of there. I'm hollering at him to get out. I'm only like 18 yards from him in the shooting house. And he finally gets out. When he does, he's standing there, and that boar decides to come back in there, the biggest one. And he starts back in there, and of course, Bo starts trying to figure out a place to get up a tree. And he starts moving real fast. Of course, I get tickled. But anyway, the boar, I guess, because Bo was jumping around, and you know how you do when I'm going to go this way or that way, which way am I going to go? And the boar stopped. And Bo turned around and said, Daddy, that come things right there, and he didn't have no, if he'd had a gun, he could have just stood there and let the hog come right up. Well, he could have shot,
Right.
But it done got too late. I didn't have good camera.
Right.
Actually, I had the lights on already. Then the hog was out of the light frame, but he could have waited till the hog got into the lights. I mean, he could have shot it right there by him. Would have made the footage even way more better, But
what a story! Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and we do that all the time. It's not something we do it every chance we get. We go down there and we play with them. And the deer, I mean, we've had 5 deer within 8 yards of us for 2.5 hours. Never cut the camera off. Never cut the camera off for 2.5 hours.
That's
incredible. And you got to imagine, and it was, I think it was 93 that day, 93 degrees. I mean, and you got to imagine sitting there sweating for 2.5 hours and an animal not picking you up. Yep. I mean, that's amazing.
That is pretty good.
I don't care who you are, what you are. To do that it's unbelievable.
No, it really is. Well, we need to wrap it up for the day, for the podcast. Can I get you? Will you please give the listeners the way we can find you on social media and find you on your website and order your product?
Yes, we are on Facebook. My personal page is Rex Holmes Jr. The company page is Vapor Trail Scents LLC. We actually have two websites, www.vaportrailscents.com and www.vaportrailoutdoors.com.
Yep.
So, and got two websites because it gets a little rambunctious there sometimes. So.
I've been to both of them, and I ordered off of Vapor Trail Scents, and that was an easy process. I paid with my PayPal account. I mean, it was super easy. And if you don't have a credit card, or if you don't have a PayPal account, you can still use your credit card or debit card to pay. You know, it's really slick. So,
Yes,
I really enjoyed the order process.
Yes, we use PayPal to that they collect our money for us. So don't think you got to have a PayPal account to order off of there. You don't have to.
No, that's great. And you get it shipped straight to your door. And you're in some stores, but I don't think you're much in Texas right now, so folks can order it online. But I mean, I've just been impressed. That's why I made the order when I did. I was just like, well, I got to give this stuff a try. I mean, I've just seen too many videos and stuff watching, you know, and you're just too neat of a guy to talk to not have you on the show. So.
Well, we really appreciate it. We've enjoyed it. You sure you don't want to talk another 2 hours?
I want to have you back on for sure, definitely. So, but no, this has been great. I really appreciate the educational tidbits that you've shared with us about a deer's nose and wild hogs and deer hunting and just all the different things. I just want to thank you again for being on the show.
Yeah, I want to give the guys one last tech tip before we go.
Sure.
You say your listeners love tech tips.
Yes,
okay,
they do.
Guys. Real quick, guys, when you're out there and you're in your climbing stand, you come out of the stand and you get ready to go home, you know, we don't think about it. We leave that stand right there at the deer's nose level, you know. Take your stand, spray your stand down with your scent eliminator, and take your stand and push it up on the tree as high as you can so the animals are walking under it, not smelling it, not bumping into it.
Yeah.
Wondering what it is, you know, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and coming back and hunting that area again, sure.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's great. That's a great tip. No, that's wonderful. Well, thanks so much for joining us and being a part of the show this week.
Yes, next time we'll talk about how to spray down and where to spray down and what your top areas for dispersing scent for the animals to smell, and you'll be amazed what the number 2 spot is on your body. So we really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And there he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Rex Holmes Jr., VaporTrailScents.com, VaporTrailOutdoors.com. Great guy. Really enjoy. We just shoot the bull every once in a while. He'll call me up ever since we started working together with Texas Fish and Game. You know, he advertises in our magazine in the October issue. We just pick up the phone and call each other. I mean, we're like buddies that have never met each other. You know, it's kind of cool. But really enjoyed that interview. I really enjoyed that time to spend with Rex, and really invite our listeners to check out their products, because I just got my stuff in the mail the other day. The flashlight's one of the brightest headlamps, like I said earlier, that I've ever used. The vapor maker, the different scents that they have and scent covers, and $33 dig a hole. All their different products are just really neat, and I get to use them and field test them this year myself, and really get to see how they work in my part of Central Texas where I hunt, and West Central Texas, that area, because I hunt in Mason and Brady for gun hunts, and then I bow hunt at DB Hunting Ranch and Bertram, all in the Texas Hill Country. So really enjoy doing that. So I've been really busy working on websites for people and getting market materials and brochures and stuff like that done. I wanted to also recommend, if you don't have a spot to hunt, check out in here in Central Texas, DB Hunting Ranch. They have a couple of specials going on right now. You can visit them at dbhunting.com. That's dbhunting.com. I'll put that in the show notes. If you're looking for a deer processor, we've got wild game processing and taxidermy done by those guys as well. It's DB Wild Game Processing and Taxidermy. They're located on Highway 29 in Bertram. and great place to take your deer or wild hog or any kind of exotic that you take throughout the season to go check them out. And I will have Danny Berry on the podcast one of these days. I'm positive of it. We talk just about every night and have a good opportunity to have him on the show to talk about hunting and everything that he's involved in with the outdoor industry. So I'm excited about that. All right. So, Vapor Trail Scents, check these guys out, and thank you so much again for watching, for reading, for listening, and have an awesome day in the outdoors.